Hey, it's Brian G. Johnson from marketingeasystreet.com, and today I've got a video continuing case study that I've been blogging about, and we're going to get into the Google Panda update. The first Panda update happened in the spring of 2011, and the sites that we're going to talk about were actually launched just a few months prior to that. They were launched in the fall of 2010. And because of that, they're really great subject matter for a true case study. And I'm going to be sharing with you data that I've collected through Google Analytics, and I'm going to share the insights that I've come to understand. I'm going to show you case in point what I did to really ramp up my traffic across several sites. So let's get started. So here are the particulars when we talk about this case study. I launched a series of 4 different websites in October of 2010. Now, I targeted extremely competitive niche markets, and within the niche markets, I targeted extremely competitive keyword phrases. The goal was to go into these incredibly competitive markets that were also very lucrative, and the goal was to build up sites that over time would really gain authority, would gain traction, and ultimately drive a lot of traffic and make a lot of money, right? It's just the typical a goal of any internet marketer. For the first 3 to 4 months after launching these sites, the only thing that was really focused upon was creating high quality content. Now, I had several people writing for the sites, and really what I had done is I had found people that were very passionate about the subjects at hand. So the quality was of the highest caliber, and we really focused on quality over quantity. And as I said, we began to build up the content for a period of 3 to 4 months. Now, one of the sites in particular, and I'll be sharing the exact analytic data with you from Google Analytics, probably has well over 250 articles on the site, and it's done extremely terrible. I'm sad to report. Now, the other site in particular, we posted probably close to 100 articles, and then after that point we began to work on link building. And let me show you in the next slide what happened at that point. Now, as mentioned, I'm going to be sharing some analytical screenshots that were generated through the iPad using a nice little Google Analytics app that I use every morning. I check it every morning. And we're going to look at 2 different screenshots from the two of the 4 different sites in the case study. And I want to let you know that we're looking at data that began on June 1st. If you remember, I mentioned that the sites were launched in the fall of 2010, around October or so. For the first 3 or 4 months, we really didn't worry about rankings. We just really wanted to establish quality sites with great content. And once we got kind of into the early summer months, again, June 1st, we began to look at, getting to the next level, promotion, and primarily link building. Now, the first site that you're looking at here, as you can see, actually what's interesting is that, the traffic probably was the highest it's been in the last 9 months around this period, around the summer of 2011, June 1st. You can see we're doing about 50 visitors a day, and then there was some type of an update, and the traffic kind of went into the tank, and it flattened out. And really, at this point, it just continues to wither. This is a website that I probably invested in a good $1,000 in creating, and we began to use a method that I advocate and I've taught since 2008. It's extremely effective. It's called Let's Get Blog Rolled. And while so many marketers are out there spamming low quality links and using software applications, this link building method really is such a more powerful way to establish rankings, because what we're doing is we're able to obtain links from highly trusted sites within our niche, sites that have been around for many, many years, sites that have a lot of page rank. And when we start to grab these kind of links and they're pointing into our site, it really strengthens the site overall. And I've never really used this tactic and not seen a tremendous boost in the rankings. However, here we are, and we're looking at this graph, and you can see that as far as the traffic, we actually went backwards from June. Our traffic probably decreased by about 3 times, and we began to implement this link building tactic probably somewhere right around here in July or so, July, August, and it still had little to no effect. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at another screenshot, and let me show you what this screenshot looks like. You'll notice the screenshot looks pretty much almost identical from that of the last screenshot, and the difference is quite apparent now. This is the kind of screenshot that sells a lot of products online. This is the kind of screenshot that makes a lot of SEOs drool, and really it's pretty impressive to see the kind of traction that this site has gained in the last 3 to 4 months. And again, you know, I mentioned that we began a link building campaign, and really for this site we started implementing it. You know, actually it was probably a little bit later than that. Probably about the beginning of September we began to implement our link building campaign. Let's just say it's right there. I think it's close enough regardless either way. And within weeks we have this kind of upward trajectory, and our rankings really began to skyrocket. And we continued with this link building for a period of about 6 weeks. We did extremely well, and we were able to gain about 12 to 14 links that were blog rolled links. Now let me go on and tell you a little bit more about this kind of a strategy and why it's so effective. So I mentioned that with the site that really had the gain in rankings and ranking improvement and traffic improvement, we were able to gain about 12 to 14 or so links from these various sites. Now all of these sites had been online. I would say the average age of each of these sites was probably about 2.5 to 3 years. The page rank was a minimum of 1 or 2 on each site, and these sites had a tremendous amount of trust, and that trust was then transferred over to our site. So here we had the site that we were trying to target, and we have all these other little sites, right? And these sites have been online. They're not commercial sites. They're just there because the webmasters are incredibly passionate about the topic, and they began to link to our site. What's really interesting is the keywords they were linking with were spot on, so we were getting great anchor text links. This is absolutely the most powerful link building strategy, and it's funny because so many people just want to push buttons, and that's great. You know, when you're able to generate thousands of links, that really can help sculpt your rankings. It can help give you that kind of next level traffic. But without these kinds of authority links, you're going to have a hard time. If all you have is push button links, you're not going to gain the authority and traction, you're not going to gain the trust, and you're not going to get that increase. So what happened is we're not just getting 12 to 14 or so links. Actually, these are blog roll links, and each of these sites has many posts and pages, and the link is featured on each of their posts and pages most of the time. So what happened was we actually, we didn't get 12 to 14 links. We actually got, I think it was somewhere over 3,500 links. And that's the kind of link building that makes so much sense. And literally, you can implement this method yourself, and it probably will take you about 90 minutes to 2 hours a week over the period of 4 to 8 weeks, and you can see the kind of results that you can get. Now, one of the things I really want to impress upon you when we talk about the Google update, the Panda update particularly, is we're not just talking about an algorithm that is kind of typical of past algorithms. And for most of you, that's very apparent because the old way simply does not work anymore. And you know, what's really the difference between what happened in the spring of 2011 and previous Google updates? I mean, I've been online since 2000 and I've been through dozens and dozens of these updates. I've seen updates affect my sites in an extremely positive way, and I've also been sandboxed and not been able to generate content. And what's really interesting is that with the Panda update, no longer did we have an algorithm that was based on numerical data. Just by implementing keywords and getting links and doing all the right things that Google's looking for, that's not good enough. Instead, they took it to the next level, and the Google Panda algorithm is based on user activity on your website. And basically, Google today is looking for signs from the users that people enjoy your website. Now, if that doesn't happen, if Google doesn't see that people are returning to your site, they're spending time on your site, they're visiting various pages of your site, it's not going to matter how many links you get. It's not going to matter if you increase your link building times 100. It's not going to matter if you're able to generate those quality links that pass trust onto your site. You're not going to get the love you're after, because ultimately today, as I mentioned, the algorithm is based on user activity. And if you're just not able to get that love from the visitors, if people don't really appreciate your site and want to spend time there, it's not going to happen. Let's go ahead and let's take another look at the screenshots, and let me dive into some deeper information besides the link building. Now, if you remember, this is the first screenshot I shared with you. And again, the dates are all the same. They start on June 1st of 2011 and they end on the 8th of February. Now, what's really interesting is that, we kicked in this amazing link building strategy right here, and yet we get nothing. And again, I mentioned that Google Panda is not about just giving the robot what it wants and getting the reward that you're used to getting. That's the Google of old, and it was kind of easy to get the results that you were after. You simply identified what Google would reward in the algorithm at the time. You fed the monster and it gave you the results you wanted. Well, Google Panda said, let's take a look at what people are doing on the site, and let's use that as a clue. So here we have what's called the bounce rate. The bounce rate is when your site is listed in this Google search engine results pages, and someone clicks on your listing, and then they click the back button and they go back to the Google listings. Okay, they go back to Google to see what else is available. So basically, that's a really good indication that the visitor was not satisfied with your website. They're going back and they're starting over. That's the bounce rate. Okay? Incredibly important statistical data that you need to look at. In 78%, it doesn't cut it. And I really had targeted kind of the wrong audience. I had targeted the wrong demographic. I gave them the wrong information, and I failed. Okay? Now, another metric that we can look at is time on site. So here we see we're looking at over 3,700 visits over an 8-month period, and the average time on the site was 1 minute and 34 seconds. That's actually okay. I like to try to go 2 minutes plus. That's a great signal. You're sending a great signal to Google when people stay on your site over 2 minutes. And again, this is the average. So out of 3,700 people, the average visit was 1 minute and 34 seconds. Now, the other metric that I really look at closely is the average page views. And you can see here it's not even 2, 1.71. And it's these three metrics that really have a huge impact on your ability to rank or not to rank, and to drive traffic and not to be able to drive traffic. So what happens when you're able to really create a site that people dig? What happens when you're able to create content that matters? What happens when you're able to generate what I like to call web-worthy content? Well, you get a lot of traffic, and you can convert the traffic into income, and you can be real happy like me on this $500 not legal fake bill that I generated on my iPad. I just love this little toy. So if we look at those bits of data that I just talked about, you see a very, very different story. Number one, the average time is nearly 2.5 minutes. In Friends, that's really tremendous. People spend a lot of time on the site. The bounce rate is nearly below 60%, and I can tell you right now, if I were to do an analytical screenshot, which I already have, and I looked at the last 30 days, the bounce rate would be below 60%. Again, really great. In fact, my bounce rate right now is about 52 to 54%. Very, very good bounce rate. And the average page views is 2.35. And what happened was, I went ahead with my link building strategy that's always worked. I had the right data. Google gave me the thumbs up, the go ahead. I put the links in place about right here, and I get this kind of trajectory right here. Now, after we kind of finished up with the link building, we began to optimize the content, and that's a strategy, that's a video I'll share with you on another video when I'll explain exactly what I did to just really work on the site and to drive more traffic, to rank better, to rank for more keywords. It wasn't really all that hard, and we're getting a lot more traffic out of the site. So, hey guys, Brian G. Johnson from marketingeasystreet.com, and I hope I hope you've enjoyed this case study video. You know, this is kind of the stuff that I do. This is what I love to share. And this video has been a long time in the making. You know, this is based on about 14 to 15 months of data. And if you enjoyed this video, go ahead or share or like it with your friends and whatnot. And if you want to get more strategies, more marketing ideas, make sure you visit the site. There's probably a link on YouTube, or maybe this video will be on Facebook. You can just click the link over to my site. We actually have a community. Join the forum. A lot of great members there sharing great tactics and strategies. And I've got a ton of very helpful blog posts that I think you'll enjoy. So hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you soon. Brian G. Johnson from marketingeasystreet.com.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.